importance about themselves being unique and stuff. But also at the same time, when I look at the cosmos, I see that, okay, the cosmos has been around for like 14 some billion years. And before us, there are like 5 different iterations of life and mass extinction events, right? And eventually we came to pass. Now, when our ancestors opened their eyes, they were sincerely trying to make sense of reality. Okay, their efforts were sincere, and that's how religion came to be. And I honestly don't blame them with the answers they came up to be, no matter how ludicrous it was, because they just had very, very limited knowledge. Then you see this pattern emerge where as our knowledge increases, we replace supernatural explanations with more naturalistic explanations, and it's continuing this way. Now, what strikes me here is like, I definitely understand the value religion did bring, and it was at a point necessary or maybe even conducive to more survival and keeping humans together at a point in history. It did help. What we also need to understand is something that worked maybe 1,000 years before might not work the same way or as effectively now because of how our needs and how our knowledge has changed. To give you an idea, like most of us nowadays, if we resurrect a 10th century Christian or 10th century Muslim, we would find them utterly ignorant about how reality works. For example, like they would not know that the earth is probably a globe or not, or is it flat or not. We would not take their opinions on hygiene or medical science, or mostly of anything. And we know this because we know how ignorant they were. But when it comes to the most important question about existence and why we exist, or is it our God or not, we are blindly accepting what they're saying, but rejecting almost everything else what they say about reality. So this is how I view religion. I see that there are phases in humanity where, people come to stark realization, or there's sudden increase in knowledge. For example, what happened in the past 200 years. And we're in this phase where we are evolving past our religions. Like the religions of today, no matter how confident they might seem, eventually will become like the religions of the past, like the Egyptians or the Greeks or the Romans. And the way, like as Neil deGrasse Tyson said, it's just a one-way street, and you see this pattern of religions being more and more irrelevant in society. And like I said, I acknowledge the benefit religion has had and the positives it has. We have to also acknowledge the negatives it's given to society. But as I said, it's a very human thing. And that's why you see these humanistic traits manifest in religions all the time. And the mere fact that there's like 4,000 different religions, and there's like every society you look at has a religion. It's almost like every different part of the world has a different cuisine or a different type of food. It's almost like that. Every society has had some spirituality. In the end of the day, we need to acknowledge the values, the pros and cons of it, take what's good, leave out what's bad. We cannot be like there are atheists that say that religion is completely useless, is complete poison. I do not agree with that. There's a lot of benefit to be had, and it has shaped the way society is. But at the same time, you have to be intellectually honest about the negatives. And religion is just one step or one phase of society evolving to and now something else with more knowledge. That's how I view religion. And I'd say I've noticed that a lot of atheists are very, very dismissive of religion. And I would also say that they shouldn't be like that. As of myself, I'm also an agnostic atheist in the sense that I don't necessarily say that there cannot be a God. There can be a God. I think people should still be open to the idea. And then also our idea and our concept of what a God is has evolved so much compared to what it was, for example, 3,000 years ago compared to now. From anthropomorphic deities like in the Romans and the Greeks, Zeus, to now slowly you see this trend from physical objects, God, from stones and rocks, God went in the clouds, from the clouds, God is now outside the cosmos and has become more of an invisible being. So hopefully people are more honest. I think a lot of people need to look into tradition like Buddhism, like you said, Hasan. Like it's so rich, and I mean, I was reading some Buddhist books that were written at the same time, contemporaries of Muhammad in the 6th century. And when you read those books, and I'm studying yours, I'm like, wow, these people were onto something, you know. So, like I said, take the good, leave the bad. Except that we have to understand that our knowledge, our brains evolved to survive on a planet, and maybe not to understand everything about reality. So we have to admit our own ignorance when we say that, for example, say, oh, Christ made the world, Allah made the world. Like, I mean, there are things that we just can't be sure about. Like, you know, to me, religion pretends to be sure about things that no human can possibly be sure of or make claims with any sort of confidence. And one thing I've noticed constantly is religious people tend to make claims that don't scale to their evidence. And I think if people understand that your claims should scale to your evidence, it will help society a lot. I think that's all from me. I think it's, yes.
That's wonderful. That was amazing.